Wife cheated and kept sexting her colleague while I was in pain. Now she wants to fix things when I told OBS about the affair. My wife cheated on me with a colleague. We used to go out as a group of 4, including our kids, with this colleague and his wife, and we even saw him after she cheated on me. Here's a quick summary. Since the beginning of the year, my wife has been treating me coldly and distantly, responding to me harshly. I always thought it was because of her job and stress. Essentially, she's been coming home late lately, and when she does, she always has a cold attitude. After months of this, I eventually snapped and asked her, "Tell me what's wrong." She broke down in tears, said she didn't love me anymore, that her feelings had changed, and that she didn't know what she wanted. A month later, I discovered from her phone that she had slept with this colleague that night in a car in a parking lot. For a month, until I found out from her phone, she continued cheating on me by messaging him. She claims she never had any other physical relations, that it was just a fantasy, etc., etc. Unfortunately, I had to find out on my own. A month during which she knew I was devastated. She knew everything, and she continued to send him sensual messages. She says she has no energy, feels empty, yet she had enough energy for that garbage until I found out. This thing drives me crazy and makes me extremely angry. Now we're doing couples therapy. She says she wants to try again, that she's devastated, that she's sorry. But in fact, she still maintains a distant attitude. I would like to have her back. It's been a month since discovering the cheating, but for the kids, 3 and 5 years old, I want to try to rebuild things. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I don't know if I can trust her. I don't know if she'll do it again. I'm going to start seeing a psychologist on my own to try to calm my anger, which I have never vented at her, not even by shouting. But it's eating me up. I don't know what to do. I need support and a bit of hope. I feel that deep down, the girl I married 7 years ago and met 15 years ago is still there. But it hurts. I'm torn in two. I don't know who I have in front of me anymore. After a month, I'm still devastated. Some relevant comments. I know you have your hopes and I know that this is the hardest thing you will ever face, but you have to understand that the person you're loved the most in the world no longer exists. I don't know who I have in front of me anymore. And that's because you see for yourself that she has turned herself into a stranger. She has been replaced by the woman that you share your life and kids with, but who no longer shares your love. It's one of the hardest things that anyone will ever have to go through. That person you loved and who loved you back is gone. She is not ever coming back, sadly. You may see glimpses every now and then, and that is the most horrible part of this. You want to see that person with every fiber of your being, but no amount of talking, of therapy, of counseling is ever going to fully bring that person back. What you had with her is never coming back. I so want to give you hope, something to cling on to. But as we see and hear far too often, hope just stops you from healing yourself. Hope lulls you into a false sense that she'll come back. Hope and clinging to it just slowly destroys the person that you are. We all know that you, like so many others before you, want to rebuild this life you just had torn away. But for most, if not all, it never happens. Please, for your own sake and for your future happiness, just let her go. Appreciate the truth. I will let September come and I will decide. I am starting therapy alone to solve anger and contact a lawyer for consultancy on divorce scenario. If this hurts, do you honestly believe you will trust your wife again? You are her second choice in your own marriage. Her heart is gone, but you are living with a husk trying to rebuild the life you never really had. Your wife doesn't love you. Don't stay in this marriage because of your children. Children watch and learn from their parents and will emulate their behaviors. What are you teaching your children by staying in a marriage without love and trust? Once your wife committed an adultery, your marriage is no longer healthy and worth keeping. You will suffer from anxiety and stress in addition to the mind movies of their sensual escapades. Do you want to waste the rest of your life living like that? See a divorce lawyer even if you are not thinking of divorce yet. It's always good to know all your options and be prepared. Make sure to let OBS know about the affair so she knows what kind of man she is married to. It's time to be a strong father and a good role model to your children by living a life of integrity. Leave a cheater, gain a life. Free yourself from the cheater and move on to live a life worth living. Do you honestly believe you will trust your wife again? I don't know yet. The thing is, she kept her emotional cheating going on while I was already destroyed. That hurts. She has been capable of that. Therapist looks like minimizing it. Cheating is a consequence, she said. I replied, no dear therapist, it is a choice. Edit, I told OBS about the affair the morning after. She knows, but I never called her again. Cheating wife seems to be in pain and regrets what she did. She gave me access to location and phone. But I don't care now. Cheating wife said it was only just once physically and that she stopped sex because of guilt and then continued as texting. Problem is, I was suffering in the meanwhile, and she continued, and never happened anything physical again. She quit texting when I found out. I am contacting an attorney. I will start seeing a psychologist for myself alone to try solve my anger and pain. Last year I went to a therapist for 8 months after a panic attack due to high stress at work. She has been very sensual past summer until December when everything crashed down. We haven't talked a lot since we had children. I have a very demanding job and children occupy a lot of our time. Not an excuse, just a fact. P.S. Please do not send me fake bear pics randomly taken on the internet pretending it is you. It is so lame. Story 2. I, 23 male, who had been dating my girlfriend, 24 female, for about 7 years. Our relationship was pretty solid, and we were always up for trying new things to keep the spark alive. Recently, my girlfriend suggested we spice things up with a trio. I was hesitant at first, but she was really enthusiastic about it and assured me it was something she wanted to explore. We ended up meeting another girl through a mutual friend. She seemed cool, and after some conversations and ground rules, we decided to go ahead with it. I used a protection during the encounter and everything seemed to go smoothly. It seemed like a fun, one-time experience. However, a couple of weeks later, the other girl contacted us with some unexpected news. She was pregnant. She insisted the baby was mine, as she hadn't been with anyone else around that time. My girlfriend was furious and immediately blamed me for the situation. She argued that I should have been more careful, despite the fact that I had used protection. I tried to remind her that the trio was her idea and that we had all agreed to it, but she wasn't having it. The other girl even suggested we do a DNA test to confirm paternity, but my girlfriend still gave me an ultimatum. Either we break up, or I find a way to fix the situation. She said she couldn't trust me anymore and felt betrayed, even though the pregnancy was an accident. I offered to support the other girl and take responsibility for the child if it turned out to be mine. But my girlfriend said she couldn't be with someone who had a kid with another woman. So, am I the idiot for getting a girl pregnant during a threesome and now my girlfriend wants to break up with me? Some relevant comments. I'm gonna say not the idiot. For starters, there's no reason getting worked up before confirming paternity. Second, if it was her idea, she needs to be ready to accept the potential consequences of encouraging sex with another woman. Protections break, fail, women on BC sometimes still get pregnant. None of it is 100% guaranteed to prevent. Sadly, I don't think you're going to convince her of this, but you're definitely not the idiot. Not the idiot. She can say she hadn't been with anyone else around that time. But really, you can't know that for sure unless you do a DNA test. Also, your girlfriend sucks. A known side effect of sex is pregnancy. I won't offer any support until you have proof of parentage, and even then I don't know if I'd go so far as to say I'd support the girl. I would pay child support. And this might make me a complete idiot, but I'd even go as far as saying I'd help pay for an abortion. I wouldn't want to spend the next 18 to 19 years paying child support for a random trio. Daddy, tell me how you met mommy and made me again. That'll be a fun bedtime story. Story 3. My great-aunt set up savings accounts for all of her female relatives. In our culture, education for women is not really valued and she thought that was nonsense. She lived with her father in London where she was educated. She went on to attend university and became a doctor. She married a British man. They moved to America and had a great life. She funded the education of as many of her nieces and grandnieces as she could. When she passed away, she left money for every girl relative she could. My parents managed to access the accounts that were set up for my sister and I. They used it to pay for my brother's wedding. My sister didn't care because she got married 2 years out of high school and had no intention of going to college. When I graduated, I went to the bank to get money for school, and it was almost all gone. There was like $13,000 left. I asked my parents about it and they said they had needed the money. I finally found out where the money went. I got furious. I got student loans and moved out. I am a great source of shame to them and I don't give two Fs. I am currently suing them for the money that was left for me. My entire family is against me. They all think I am a complete idiot for airing private family business in public, and that I am putting money ahead of family. My friends are all on my side, but they are all Americans and don't really get my culture. Neither do I, to be honest. My brother called me up and offered to pay for my university if I dropped the lawsuit. I agreed as long as we had a legally binding contract. He said I was being an idiot for not trusting him. I said he should not have accepted my money for his wedding. It is causing all kinds of embarrassment in our community. I am somewhat ashamed to be doing this, but I don't want to have this debt I should not have. Relevant comments. Not the idiot. Your parents didn't borrow your money. They stole it. I hope you have all the documents to show that money was yours. Your brother is also the idiot for trying to get you to drop a lawsuit with what is most likely a lie. If you have a chance to start life without student debt, you do whatever you can to do that. Your parents, and I'm sorry but their culture, sound completely toxic. I'm glad you got out. The student law center at my university is helping me with everything. I have proof that the money was mine. I am trying to do everything I can so this does not become a criminal matter. Not the idiot, how much was stolen? Enough that both my sister and I could have finished our undergraduate degrees without debt. Not the idiot, your parents stole from you. I find it difficult to believe that that's culturally acceptable. If they had asked you to agree to the money being used, it would be different. Although still not great given the power imbalance. And I would have thought that intentionally disrespecting the dead would be a no-no in most cultures. You aren't airing family business in public. You are dealing with a theft. Your parents are the ones who chose to lie and steal. They have only the same to blame that their actions have caught up with them. And yes, relying is formal, binding, legal contract in place to withdraw your legal claim is essential. You are not being an idiot. If your brother is honest and trustworthy, then there is no reason for him to object. If he isn't, there is every reason to get it formally drawn up. Update, 1 year 3 months later. It's over. I got my money. I have also pretty much been disowned by my family, but I consider that a win as well. My parents ended up having to mortgage some property to pay me back for what they stole. My family is embarrassed that I forced them to this point after they had offered to pay me back in installments. Nobody is willing to answer me when I ask what would make my parents pay me back if I was stupid enough to trust them. I have been told that I will never find a husband from our culture with my belligerent attitude and strident independence. I laughed. I do not want anything to do with that culture except perhaps enjoy the food. I plan on never returning to that country. I am enjoying the independence I have achieved and am more than happy to know that several other of the young women in my family have taken steps to lock down the education funds left for them. For those of you that think it is sexist that my great aunt only cared about educating women, please die angry. Some comments. Your parents went directly against the wishes of your aunt who established the educational trust. Clearly they prioritized the wedding of your brother with monies that were intended to educate the girls of your family. One thing for certain, they perpetuate the ignorance that girls and women are less worthy of an education and opportunities. My parents always told me that I could do anything. As their only daughter, I took that encouragement to become an engineer. While my brothers are also successful because they too were encouraged to strive for success and happiness. It is evil to just decide that the majority of humans are not worthy of an education because some cultures want to maintain control by keeping us in ignorance, darkness, and subservience. I firmly believe that taking the money to fund the brothers' wedding was intentional on another level. Sure, they wanted money to throw a lavish wedding, but I also think that taking away the girl's ability to be educated was part of the goal. It's frowned upon in their culture and they didn't want her to be like her aunt. So they thought they could stop her. I don't know her, but I'm so proud of her. She understood the value of education. She also understood how her culture treats women as a whole. She broke the cycle and wanted to provide a different path for the young women in her family. Your family is trapped in the past and hung up on the ways of their old country. They should be ashamed of themselves. They failed in their parental responsibilities. Yes, I agree with you. That relative is the MVP. Good luck, OP. Wish you all the best. Story 4. My beautiful wife and I recently had a baby boy, and during her pregnancy she suffered from acne. She has always had great skin, so it was totally new to her and it was devastating to her self-esteem. She was given some prescription cream from her dermatologist and it worked for a little while and then stopped working. I know to some people this might not be a big deal, but she is very insecure about her looks. I don't know why, and she felt terrible. Well, I recently found out that my sisters were switching the prescription cream with regular moisturizer. I've never been so angry with them in my life. I exploded. My mom had them apologize and told them they needed to pay for all of the cream they threw away. They are so spoiled that their response was okay and then sticking their hand out to our mom. She said she wasn't paying and they needed to figure it out. My mom was serious they needed to pay, but she also didn't seem okay with them getting jobs. She has this attitude that she has worked too hard for her daughters to have some crappy job at the mall. I guess she was expecting them to sell something or maybe babysit. Well, they recently came up with the money. I took it, of course, but I'm still not ready to move on with them. However, as they were leaving, I heard this exchange. My mom asked where they got it and they both looked at her fiancé and burst out laughing. My mom looked at him and he was like, "Well, you just said you wouldn't give it to them. You never said I couldn't." I saw red. I confronted him immediately and he told me what he does with his money isn't my business. I said, "Well, technically that is true. I will never look at him the same again. I don't want him in my house and I'm not going to their wedding." Now my mom is calling me ridiculous and saying they are a package deal, so don't expect her to come around either. I feel slightly bad because I know what a big deal a wedding is. Relevant comments. Not the idiot for choosing your wife over a bunch of selfish idiots. If they're behaving like this now, then they are going to behave like this in the future. If your mom wants to come down on the wrong side of this, that is up to her. She can come or not. Don't let them blackmail you into folding on this issue. If there is time, you could try to see some family counseling to deal with this issue. However, it sounds like they won't be interested in doing the right thing. Otherwise, stand your ground. Why did they throw the cream away? How did they get access to the cream for long enough to empty out the container and replace it with something else without getting the tub all greasy or dirty? What did they do with the prescription cream? How did you find out what they'd done? We were staying there at the time, so they would sneak into our bathroom. I'm not sure why they did it beyond they hate my wife and didn't want her in the house. They said if our mom wasn't going to kick us out, they had to take matters into their own hands. They threw the prescription cream away. I found out because they told a cousin who told other people. Why did your sisters feel okay messing with your pregnant wife's prescription cream? They got that attitude from somebody, and I'm guessing it's your mom. Your mom wants to continue to excuse all their crappy behavior, probably like she always does. She let this whole crap show happen, so she gets the classic FAFO. Stick by your wife's side. She needs to see your support against your horrible sisters, not the idiot. My mom hated us living there, and they are really protective of her, so they wanted to hurt her, because in their childlike minds she was hurting our mom by existing. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you really like our videos, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.